Hey guys, bipolar dude here. Today I'm going to be talking about mania and specifically 6 things I hate about mania and being manic. There's a lot of things I like too about being manic. I'm sure anyone who knows anything about it, if they are bipolar, they definitely know. Um, everybody's kind of different. I heard that some people have only bad times being manic, but generally I hear, most people hear good things about being manic, but there are some really bad things about being manic, and that, especially from a personal point of view, is what I'm going to be sharing with you today. Okay, 6 things I hate about being manic. Number 1, you ruin your relationships and ultimately either the career you're going for or opportunities. At least you can. And for me, it happens every time. Every time I'm manic, I either lose the friends that I already have, or I gain new friends and lose them by the end of the manic episode anyway. Mainly because being around someone who's manic, they do risky behaviors, they say outlandish things, they have like no filter, and they offend really easily. If they have something negative to say, they'll usually say it. Things that can't be taken back. I'm not going to go too into specific stories in this video just because I want to save those for actual stories in videos that I'm going to put later, like specifics. But yeah, no. And so you ruin your relationships. People don't forgive you. They don't want to be around someone who's fucking crazy, basically. And so that happens. And also, you ruin your opportunities, your career, your job, usually, because whenever I'm manic, and not everybody likes their job all the time, as soon as I'm like, dude, my job sucks, I'm gonna fucking quit right now. I can do it. And then I just don't even think about the consequences. I just go in there and be like, fucking peace, I'm out, quit, bitches, suck my dick. I don't say that, but that's basically my attitude about the whole thing. And then, like, when I'm out of my mania, I'm like, fuck, I lost that job. And now, like, this happens so often. Like, when I go to jobs now, they're like, why do you only work at, jobs 6 months at a time? And you're like, you don't tell them because you're manic and then you're bipolar because, you just don't do that. I don't think it's a good idea to tell anybody really that you work for unless you know them well. But yeah, but that's the reason. And so they're like, well, we're not going to hire someone who's unreliable. And you're like, well, that's true, I'm unreliable as shit. That's definitely fucking true. That's definitely true. It happens all the time, and I'm very unreliable. And that's another thing with opportunities is I end up either dropping out of college or getting so fucked up, which I'm gonna talk about my second reason. Getting so fucked up I go into a mental hospital, and then, or a psychiatric ward, same thing. But basically, and then I like can't do that semester anymore, or I mess up, or I decided I dropped out of college or whatever it is. And then when I'm not manic, I'm like, fuck, that sucks. I just cost a whole bunch of money and I did all this shit. So that sucks. And sometimes I just don't even go to class because I'm having too much fun doing other shit, and I'm just like, I don't want to be in class, so I just walk out of class and start talking to people in other places. That's not smart. So yeah. You just feel like you can do that, like you're on top of the world, and when you get out of it, you're like, fuck, I just ruined my whole life because in like a 3-month, 2-month span, because I just didn't give a shit. I was just living on the edge, living high life. So that's number 1, ruin relationships and opportunities. Number 2, every time I'm manic, it's happened 3 times now where I've gotten seriously manic. mostly every time I end up, pretty sure every time, but there might have been one time where I was manic where I didn't, but I don't feel like that's true. Maybe. Anyway, mostly, if not every time, mostly every time I get manic, I end up in a mental hospital. I end up in a psychiatric ward because I'm having crazy thoughts all over the place. I'm like paranoid sometimes, and sometimes I'll have homicidal, suicidal thoughts. Homicidal, suicidal thoughts. For real. Like, I think about really fucked up shit. And so, but it's not like, you know, all the time, but, when then I end up doing something or I end up like, I can't take it anymore. And since I don't care about anything and like everything's fine, like I just decide, yeah, dude, I'll go to a mental hospital. Nothing, I don't think about the consequences, how everyone's gonna see me, how my life's gonna be. What if I like go into a mental hospital? Um, and so like when they ask me, do you have homicidal or suicidal thoughts? I'm like, yeah, no, definitely, yeah. And then they're like, did you plan anything about like how to kill yourself or any of that? And sometimes I say like outlandish things, but sometimes I'm like, yeah, dude, because most of the time I just want to get into the mental hospital. It's weird. Like I just want to get there. But then I end up going, and I'll have other videos discussing my times in the mental hospitals. Because those are some fun and weird stories. But, yeah, so that's number 2. I always end up in a mental hospital, and it sucks. 3, which kind of goes along with number 1 and 2. I embarrass myself publicly every time I'm manic. Because I'm not thinking clearly, I'm not thinking rationally. So I just say whatever comes to my mind, even if it makes no fucking sense. And usually, because I feel like all powerful, like I'm like above everybody else, like I'm on this higher level of consciousness or something, I'm just doing things that literally don't even seem like they connect sometimes to other people. Like I'll just post bunches of shit on Facebook and like message people different things and all this other stuff. And I'll go on Snapchat. I usually when I'm manic, I re-upload all of my social media, and usually when I'm depressed or after my mania, I just delete it all because I'm so embarrassed at what I did. And it sucks because not only do you lose your friendships and your careers that like you try to have, but you also know that if anybody talks about you, they're talking about how fucking crazy and weird you are, because that's the only time you really want to talk to everybody is when you're manic and when you're fucking crazy. Most people don't see me when I'm normal because normally I don't have, I don't post a bunch of stuff or I don't have a lot to say. I mean, right now I feel normal. So, I mean, this. So maybe this will help change that. I don't know. But yeah, I embarrass myself. And it just sucks. Because I come out of it and I'm like, dude, how do I tell people that's not me? How do I convince people that like that's really not a part of my personality? Like if I was, at any other mindset, I maybe would have had those thoughts, but probably not. But if I did, I'd be like, well, it's a weird thought. I'm not gonna say that's weird, and I dismiss it like a normal person does when they have, weird thoughts. But for me, I just run with them, and they just go in this creative spiral where at the end of it, just like I'm so out there in my mind that no one even knows what my train of thought is. And so, you just get out there and it's embarrassing. Not embarrassing at the time, but afterward. So that's the third thing I hate about being manic, is I embarrass myself publicly. Alright, now on to number 4. Afterwards, after the manic episode, and I'm putting this in there like afterward things because they deal with the manic episode. because I've embarrassed myself publicly, because I've gotten out of jobs and relationships, and I ended up in a mental hospital. Because of that, when I get out of a manic episode and I reflect on all that, I lose massive confidence. Like, I don't feel good about myself. You know, like, once that happens, I come out of it and I'm like, I'm a piece of shit. I can't hold a job together. I fucking, can't have friends. My friends don't like me at all. Or my used to be friends don't like me at all. They think I'm crazy, whatever. I can't do classes. I can't do college because I messed that up. And I'm been in a mental hospital again. And so it's like, I come out of that and I'm like, I don't, and because you embarrass yourself, well, like, because I embarrass myself, when you do that, you embarrass yourself, I don't feel like I can talk to anybody because it's like, I know how they probably see me versus, like, because of the things I've done. And it's just like, what if I'm saying something and I embarrass myself again? Like, it makes me so afraid to talk. Like, it gives me huge anxiety and I lose confidence and I just don't want to talk anymore around certain people and certain things, and it makes me want to stay inside all day and not communicate with people and talk to people because it's just, all the stuff that's going in my head is like this shit that I'm saying right now, and no one wants to hear that. I don't want to be a sad story all the time around people, and I don't want to joke about it because it sucks to joke about it because people know that it's actually serious for you. Like, if someone, like a normal person says, like, fuck, like, kill me, I want to kill myself right now or something like that, then you're like, you can see it as a joke. But when someone goes to a mental hospital for suicidal thoughts, if they make that joke, it's not a joke anymore. Even though you want it to be, even though you want to say, like, a lighthearted suicidal humor or, like, depressing or, degrading to yourself or whatever, just, take stabs and shots at yourself. People are like, they feel uncomfortable because it's like, that guy's really sad. That guy has real problems in his life. So it's hard. And so I lose confidence. I don't know how to be funny. I don't know how to be myself. I don't know any of that. I lose just a little bit more confidence after every manic episode. It's true. That's number 4. I lose confidence. Number 5. Another thing after manic episodes that sucks is that I have this fear of being happy. Which is like the worst thing ever because every time I get happy, I'm like, oh no, this is just a downward spiral into a manic episode, or upward spiral, however you want to look at it. But it's just straight up, every time I'm happy, I'm like, fuck, dude, am I going to go into a manic episode and ruin my whole life? And then you like, kind of want to go into the manic episode. And so, like, every time you feel happy, you feel like it's not healthy. And that sucks because not only right after a manic episode do I usually go into a depressive episode, but getting out of that depression is even harder because I'm fighting being happy. So it's like you're fighting depression and you're fighting happiness at the same time. And I haven't felt like I've had a good euphoric or happy state that's justified since I've been diagnosed since I was 19. So I don't feel like I've ever been in a comfortable position where I'm happy for good reasons and I have good relationships and everything's fine and I don't want to kill myself and all this other stuff, since I was 19. And I mean, not every day I want to kill myself, but I mean, there are some weeks where every day, yes. But I mean, it's very hard to get a normal feeling of happiness when you're scared that you're gonna go manic, is the point. That's number 5. I fear being happy. The last and 6th thing that I hate about Mania which is also kind of fun. So, I mean, I might put like a version of this on like the things I like about mania. But the last thing is risky behaviors. When you're manic, like I said, you're not thinking clearly. And so you just do whatever you want. And because you're on like this high, you don't feel like anything can go bad. Like even when things go bad, like you deal with it and like you're still elevated. And so you're not thinking that anything like completely bad is gonna happen. So yeah, like I've wrecked my car, and usually there'll be like some thing where like I drive drunk and I end up going to jail or just getting a ticket or doing all this stuff, and that always sucks because usually that's the manic episode, and then right after it, when I'm depressed, I have to deal with all that shit, like getting a new car or the money for that, or community service hours for jail time, or going to court and all this other stuff. Like, so that's number 6, is just risky behaviors. I mean, risky behaviors. I mean, there are times when I have sex with people I probably wouldn't have sex with, when I'm not manic. But that's not too bad. I feel like that doesn't like ruin my life. I haven't got like an STD or anything. I haven't got anybody pregnant. Thank God for all that, but it could happen. I've done really risky things. Like, there's a good amount of people that could have gotten pregnant while I was manic. So, I mean, but those are risky behaviors. So that's number 6, is risky behaviors. Alright, so, that's all 6. So, I hope you guys learned something. If you're not bipolar, if you are bipolar, I hope you connected with this, and I want to let you guys know that, like, I fucking have, I'm going through this shit too, and it sucks. And, so if you're watching this, you have bipolar, love to hear comments of your stories or what you hate about, mania or whatever. If you're not bipolar, I hope that, if you ever have a bipolar friend or family member, or just meet someone, that you wouldn't judge them too harshly, or like on their manic episodes, or at least understand that it's not them. Like, it's them amplified, but it's like you versus you blackout drunk. Imagine you being blackout drunk for like 2 months and waking up and having to deal with all the shit you did while you were blackout drunk. That's basically the equivalent. I mean, we're along for the ride, but it's very out of our control a little bit. Hope you learned something, and I hope that, if you have bipolar, that you felt you could connect with some of this stuff and know that you're not alone. So, that's it for this video. I'm Bipolar Dude, and just remember, whatever you do, don't kill yourself. See you later.